Card number 109. Yeah. What is in this card? Program proceeds on certain assumption. Yeah. My programs, my training programs, perhaps the unique most training programs in the whole world actually. It is by directly responding to individual thought process and analyzing and giving creative feedback on the expressions and responses and behaviors and other thought processes of the participants. So it is done under certain assumptions. One, the mission of the program, that is to somehow enable the participant discover something unique or something new, uh, something another lateral aspect in that person. And I too have a mission, somehow achieve it. So I have a mission to render a mission to the participant. So that is it. Number two, you are committed to that. So yes, I am committed to that. That's my choice. I am definitely committed to my mission of enabling the self-discovery of a creative level for every participant. Therefore, I have not undertaken training programs offered by companies, and in a particular training program, if the participants are not receptive, I would stop the program instantly and go out of the training room, which I have done at Infosys, I have done it at Hexaware Technologies, I have done it at Satyam Computers, and many other places. And I tell them, I almost declare them in a shouting voice, I am not here because of the money the company gives me. I do the program with a clear mission. If you are not capable of responding and doing the exercises, then let us not do it. Because my training program is in creative analytic thinking. It is not about giving PowerPoint presentations and making other people repeat what is in the textbook or in the journals or what I know. It's about making them reflect upon their responses and behaviors and thought process. And when they do something, giving creative feedback, because I understand the essence of learning. All development is based on feedback from the environment in the form of a person or in the form of an experience or a feeling or a perception. So, unless the participant responds something in a creative analytical thinking session, unless they respond something, I cannot give a feedback. And if they do not respond, I would stop the program. This I have done even with individual participant trainers who have come here in the Genius Choice Institute, in the GV Yoga Center also. That is what I mean by commitment, okay? Which I don't think, I have never heard about any trainer stopping a training program in between. When especially 50,000 rupees and 75,000 rupees are the reward for a day. I have done that more than 3-4 times. So that is, I am very proud about it, I am very happy about it, I am very contented about it, rather I am very cool about it. So what I mean to say is that there should be the commitment of a trainer. Not all trainers, that is the possibility, that is not exactly a possession of me also. Because that's what I am doing. If you are a music teacher, if you are a guitar teacher, if you are a dance teacher, if the trainees who come there because of certain reasons, and if they cannot do a mudra, if they cannot move their body the way you suggest, then how can you continue? Get the point? Yeah. So my training programs are in creative thinking or creative analytic thinking or self-discovery. If they don't have that tendency, if they don't have that proper responses, then why should I? Or how can I? Not why should I cannot proceed. Actually, it is not a big stance of me, but that is the nature of my training program. It is about training the analytical thinking and the creative perspective and the genius level of attitudes and values and state of mind and spirit. So that's all. And third one, ready to clarify, or you should have the background. You should have the wider reading, what you call the wider perspective to give feedback to any response. You know, for example, when we take the sound of forest, or when we use any Zen parables, or for example, at a higher level in a training program, there may be some wonderful guys who would make very original responses. So you should have the background to give a proper feedback, a creative feedback that will surprise the participant. So I have never worked anywhere. I have been throughout my life, after my first doctoral work in creativity at the University Department of Psychology in Kerala University. I have been reading and developing all kinds of knowledges, all kinds of perspectives. The Indian Upanishads and the Puranas and the Vedas and other philosophies of Viveka Chudamani or Vivekananda Savitya Sarvasam or similar level of books and all kinds of novels and poetry and short stories and then most of the Western thoughts on mind, matter and existence. Therefore, I can give a real creative feedback. Most of my preparation, 90% of my preparation as of now in that sense is useless. It would not be required to deal with potentially any trainee from anywhere in the world. But that should be your commitment to you. Get the point, Amay Rajrishi. I want you also to come to that level of evolution of wisdom, Jnana Yoga. I want you to have the Jnana Yoga also, along with training other people in Jiva Yoga. Okay? Alright, that's all. Take the second card. What is that? That is the identity card of Mantra Shiga, Srinarayana, Matriculation or something. Yeah. Okay, card number 30. Alright. That is
Accepting truth.
okay. It is accepting truth or guidance, etc. That is depending upon the quality of source. Yeah, depending upon the quality of source. That means who tells you. You should have an understanding, a clarity of awareness about the source of a truth. Because in this world today, especially in internet, all kinds of campaigns, all kinds of news, all kinds of false or whatever information kind of things are all available in the internet platform. So thousands, thousands. So how will you know the source of it is true or false? So you should have that sensitivity. Then I am changing to the power of truth, the power of finality. Okay.
Okay.
So that means when you are aware that you are exposed to truth, you have to imbibe it like that Zen parable. Okay. Like the last truth you get before you die. Okay. What I am using is using a concept called the death consciousness. Okay. So that kind of a consciousness and sharpness is required. I don't know whether people will be that conscious during the approach of death, but for me, with the approach of death, your consciousness will be of its finest form, finest purity. And anyway, that was the understanding when I wrote this. I wrote this maybe some 20, 30 years back only. So, okay. So this is in parable. That is, a person was chased by a tiger and he ran fast and reached a precipice where there was a cherry tree and he hung on to the major root that was hanging down the precipice. So he hung on to that root, waiting for the tiger to retract. Then he saw another, what you call, a lion or something like that standing down below the precipice, straight below. Okay, he was good enough. He was hanging on the root of the cherry tree. Then he saw a rat gently gnawing the root. Oh, so that's the end of it. Then there was also a branch of the cherry tree hanging in the air with a beautiful ripe cherry blossom. So he extended his hand and plucked that fruit and tasted it. What a wonderful taste it was. That is the Sun parable, which means a lot of things else. So I'm talking about the consciousness to be maintained intact at the approach of any danger.
Yeah.
There is a possibility of consciousness that is to be trained. The great majority of people get panicky and worried and driven by anxiety at the beginning of a headache or fever or etc. of the body, or of a small incident in life, or of a potential threat of some sort, or a feeling of something lacking, or loss of employment, or problems in relationship and all that. A great majority of people get to anxiety and worry and things like that. So everybody needs to have some kind of a training or sharpening or strengthening of consciousness. That is possible not directly, but by indirect understanding, jnana yoga, understanding the invariant and variant aspects of existence. This only way. Consciousness is consciousness is consciousness. But what are the layers or orbits of existence the consciousness has been exposed to? That is the critical factor. Here, what is happening in the modern times, as a child grows to 2 years or 2.5 years, it is sent to a kindergarten where it learns alphabets, and Jack and Jill went up this hill and then going to the classrooms and learning all kinds of subject fields and interacting with the classmates and parents on very peripheral subjects, and somehow mug up the books and get a degree, and then joins a company where routine jobs which anybody can do is available, and they go on doing that, and they mature, and they think that they are enjoying life, and they go on with rather empty minds. What is in their minds? What is in their knowledge capacity? There is a huge cerebral cortex, the grey matter is available only for human beings. If human beings were to just survive by food and get copulation and so-called sex and children and constructing a house, etc., this much of neurons are not necessary in the brain. 90% of the brain for human being is given only to reflect upon the wonders of the world, actually. But that is not at all used by the modern systems, and the designers of the systems and the governance, they are absolutely oblivious to all these things, and all the schools and education centers have been created only to make coolies in the systems of the world, to maintain the economic steadiness of the world. That's all. Individuals go to hell. That's all. That's the attitude of the leaders and policymakers of almost all governments. Okay? So it is the responsibility of the individuals. Who to tell that? Who will tell them? Who will bell the cat? Who will inspire and liberate and lead the majority of population? So-called gurus are there. They are also taking advantage of the disciples only. They are just doing an orchestra on the stage, talking something which everybody can comprehend and make them sort of, happy for the time being, and fundamental questions are never answered. It is not answering. That is not possible. It is to be trained. All right? Consciousness is to be trained. So the responsibility should be taken by every individual. That is not happening. That's what I want to say. So I am also writing a point in that. Individuals should see or consider every meeting. No meeting shall be taken for granted. Every meeting with every individual or situation or state or context shall not be taken for granted. At the same time, individuals should be detached also. At the same time, greatly, it should be taken as greatly significant also. So, and in the red line, it is written, every meeting may not be important, but it can be significant. Okay? Because that is the nature of your alertness and consciousness. That is why. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, this is the, what you call, visiting card of my first institution, School for Creative Perspective, with a logo of Gateless Gate of Zen. It was at, what you call, 32 NR House, opposite Air India, Ashram Road, Ahmedabad. Under evidence of my trial and error, it was an error. All right.